Hey everyone, today we're teching one of the more requested strategies since Aether Revolt was spoiled. Tons of you have asked for a solid deck list that's also fun to play and won't cost as much as rent. I like to think we succeeded in all of those areas. In this video, we'll be using TCG player pricing throughout to show you how reasonably costed the deck is, and if you want to see the deck list or buy any of the cards in it for the lowest possible price, be sure to click the first link in the description. Helps the channel out a lot. Alright, without further ado, let's talk about how we're gonna dumpster people out of nowhere. Say hello to Mechanized Production. In case you haven't been introduced, the Production is a 4-mana cost enchantment aura that enchants an artifact you control. At the beginning of your upkeep, create a token that's a copy of enchanted artifact. Then if you control 8 or more artifacts with the same name as one another, you win the game. Welcome to the main win condition in the deck. This is how we're going to embarrass our opponents game after game. So now that we know how we're going to win, how in the world are we going to get 8 copies of an artifact? Get a clue, people, we're going to use clues. One of the easiest artifacts to get multiples of in Standard right now. Remember, this entire deck is designed around massing clues on the battlefield and keeping you alive long enough to find the production and win the game. We'll begin with creatures. Thraben Inspector is the most obvious include known to humankind. Not only is this 1-mana 1/2 great for chump blocking, but it also starts our clue engine off strong. Plus, we're going to have to sacrifice clues for cards. We can't save every clue we play, and having a clue turn 2 without anything to do, that's just good value. The Inspector is just beginning nonetheless, well worth including white in the deck for this. Moving up our curve, we have one of It went out of nowhere, it seems. In addition to being an efficient clue vending machine, the Illuminator provides some key early blocks against aggressive strategies. You can probably guess this strategy isn't exactly aggressive. This spirit helps to keep the life total high early game. It's very important, worthy of playset inclusion without a doubt. Next up, we have a playset of Tireless Tracker. This is the most expensive card in the deck, but its value justifies its price. We all know how powerful the tracker can be normally, but in a deck that cares about clues, it's monumentally important. Demands a removal spell immediately. If you can untap with the tracker in a deck that wins by creating clues, things are going to go real bad or real fast. In many games, the tracker ate a lot of removal or counter magic. It was absolutely the most targeted card, and that's fine. It's a beacon of power. If it stays on the battlefield, great. If it doesn't, that's one less piece of disruption for our actual win condition. The tracker is powerful. I'd go out of your way to get them if you can. The last creature in the deck is Bygone Bishop. I was hesitant to include this creature at first because it just seems so slow, but the matches you get to untap with it end up going quite well for you. A 2/3 for 3 in the air is great on both attack and defense. It can chump really well, and the rest of the creatures in the deck, as you just saw, are 3 mana or less, so triggering the Bishop not a problem. Another solid creature to add to the arsenal. Now, as you can see, we're really deep on the clue-making strategy, but that isn't limited to only our creatures. We have spells that investigate like a boss as well. The card that sets us up for a win out of nowhere? Second Harvest. The best part about clues, they're tokens. Second Harvest straight up doubles our clue count at instant speed, easily turning 4 into 8, 5 into 10, even 3 into 6 if need be. Being at instant speed lets us dumpster players out of nowhere. They think they're safe when we only have 4 clues out and the production, then wham! Second Harvest hits them right in the face at the end of their turn. Done over. GG. Second Harvest. Amazing card. Another solid investigate card is Confront the Unknown. In this deck with this many clues, Confront the Unknown becomes a stupidly powerful combat trick. The synergy with clues is unreal, and for only a single green mana you get to pump a creature to levels unknown. Worst case scenario, if you need a clue and don't have any creatures, target your opponents. They get a useless buff if you use this correctly, and you get your clue. Confront is especially useful in this fast-paced meta where battles on the ground will be happening early and often. Look at Confront as a pseudo-removal, pseudo-protection clue generator. It's an all-star in this strategy, just always. Alright, so up to this point you've seen our solid package of Investigate creatures and our pure Investigate spell package. We're missing something though, right? We're missing some big cards that will help us outvalue our opponents, stay ahead of the curve, stay in the game. Don't worry, we didn't forget. We're running Inspiring Statuary as a 3 of. Everyone's trying to make Improvise work with servos. Let me tell you, Improvise with clues is delicious. Inspiring Statuary is a solid include in this deck and will single-handedly turn some of your most expensive cards into practically nothing. At worst, it's a mana rock itself, and at best, well, you'll see in a second. Remember, the Statuary lets all of our clues essentially tap for colorless mana, which means Second Harvest is cheaper, Mechanized Production is cheaper, our creatures are cheaper. You know what else is cheaper? Confirmed Suspicions. This card is pure absolute bulk literally anywhere else, but in this specific deck, with this specific strategy, Confirmed Suspicions is not only playable but encouraged. Trust me, I used it multiple times, rarely at 5 mana. Thanks to the Statuary turning everything into Improvised Heaven, the Suspicions will oftentimes cost 2 mana, sometimes 3, rarely 4, almost never 5. You're only running a few in the deck, so it isn't a linchpin part of the strategy, but this is close to a win con in and of itself. When you cast it, not only are you countering any spell, which we all know is great, but you get 3 clues. 3! Don't underestimate that. Those 3 clues bring you real close to winning the game, even if you didn't have that many clues to begin the turn. Be sure to keep in mind that using clues isn't bad either, so at worst, this is giving you a lot of fuel to draw through your deck. I know you may feel hesitant because Suspicions is normally just a terrible card, but I firmly believe that this exact deck, is why the card exists, and it's hilarious. The last 5 cards in the deck don't need the Statuary because they do all the improvised work themselves. Metallic Rebuke and Reverse Engineer. Reverse Engineer is simply broken in this strategy. I can't say it any other way, this is an auto-include. It never costs 5 mana to play, and while it is a sorcery, I'll draw 3 cards on my turn for 2 or 3 mana most of the time. I'll do that all day. The Engineer is one of the more powerful cards in the deck, and I'm honestly considering playing more than 2. 3 might be the right number, it's almost always good. As for Metallic Rebuke, we had a back and forth between this and Negate. We ended up picking the Rebuke over Negate simply because of how fast the format is right now, and while Mana Leak would normally be dead late game, we don't expect the late game to be as late as normal. Decks are running really quickly and low to the ground these days. Metallic Rebuke will be live for the majority of a game, and with Improvise easy to enable, you're getting Mana Leak or better most of the time. Look at it that way, it looks much better, right? I didn't cast the Rebuke a single time for 3 mana. It's too easy to get at least 1 clue on the battlefield. This card's great, better than you'd think. All that's left to talk about, lands. As you can see, the deck is mainly blue-green with a splash of white for some solid creatures we absolutely need. We're running Botanical Sanctum, Fortified Village, and Port Town for non-basics. We chose these instead of the Zendikar Battle lands because they were faster mana for us most of the time, specifically faster white mana. The rest of the land base is made up of 4 forests, 5 islands, and 5 plains, so you know you'll have enough basics to trigger your untapped duels. This is 24 lands in total, pretty well tested. I feel confident in this spread. Overview, sideboard, then upgrades. Mechanized Clues is a unique deck that has a very particular playstyle. It's important to remember that your only job is to make 8 clues and get your production online. That is how you're going to win the game. If you find a way to beat them down with a single tireless tracker, so be it. That's awesome, and I applaud you for it. But most of the time, you will need your combo to win, which brings me to my main point. You have to stay alive. Don't be afraid to throw your creatures under the bus. Don't be afraid to use Confront the Unknown to win a seemingly useless battle on the ground. This deck is not fast, but with Confront, the Rebuke, and naturally buff toughness on your creatures, you often hold out long enough to make a real fight out of it. So again, do not be afraid to trade creatures early to preserve your life total, whatever you have to do to survive. Also, don't be afraid to hold back for a turn on your production if you can create Metallic Rebuke protection. This is how you're going to win the game, and if you don't have any insurance at all, it could end up being bad for you. While your deck isn't the fastest, if you do have the option to wait a turn to make sure you have shields up, do that, be patient. As for sideboarding, there are a million directions you can go in. You are 3 colors, so you have a lot of flexibility here. I think Authority of the Consuls is the first obvious auto-include in the board for Saheeli matches. I'd also include a number of Negate for spell-heavy interactive decks that want to mess with your combo, mainly as a counter to Lost Legacy. Most people will say that this card owns you, but not only do they have to draw it, but they have to play it successfully too, so you have ways to deal with it. If your opponent has mass artifact removal of any kind, or it's clear that they are full of destructive capabilities, the cutest sideboard option we've been using is Heroic Intervention. Scrumptious card for sure. Beyond that, it's really up to you and how your local meta evolves. It's still pretty early in the format, so there's a ton of wiggle room going forward. Pay attention to what people around you are playing and change accordingly. Now, if you want a true upgrade list, things get a little complicated considering most expensive cards don't really improve the deck's win rate. Instead of strict upgrades, we're more looking at side grades. Cards you could use, but end up changing the deck rather than objectively improving its win rate. Cards like Ongoing Investigation and Ulvenwald Mysteries are both solid. We didn't include them, but if your meta is a bit slower, you absolutely can. Some players include limited numbers of Virtuous Gearhawk as another production target just for some variety. It's really up to you at this point, but know that you don't really have to improve on the deck itself to be more successful. It's quite good as is. So what do you think of our Mechanized Clue list? Is this the type of deck that you'd consider playing at your local game store? I gotta say, it was hella fun building this and testing it out. Some games were crazy to say the very least, and let me tell you, there's really no feeling like winning off of mechanized production. Your opponent is baffled, you're ecstatic, everything is great in the world, all is well. Remember, if you want to see the deck list itself or purchase any of the cards for it, you can do that by clicking the first link in the description. Super cheap cards and it helps the channel. Hope you enjoyed this video, and there will be much more coming at you soon. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
What?